right, welcome to the mic, my friend, Miss Abby November.
Hey, give it up for all the comics you've seen and sexy Mr. Erell, independent woman. And I know this young man has been looking at me because I'm hot. Anyway, I'm glad you have your hands on the table because there's some guys that play with Mr. Happy while I'm up here. I can understand that, yeah. I do work at Players, and I got, not Players, Spicers or whatever it is. I moved here from Texas. That's where. Pacers, Spaces, Gentlemen Club. I'm all twisted up here. Anybody into S&M? There I am. I'm fine. That's okay. Erell was trying to bond me, do some bonding. I'm a nice lady. Yeah, you're wondering, though, young man, what happened to my hand? I was at Pacers. No, came from Texas where I was working. I had a worksite accident. The pole broke. Where's your Christian spirit? I can't even get unemployment insurance for this. So now I have to only give lap dances. You want one? Maybe after the show. It's terrible. Really bad. So a little bit about myself, if you give a shit. It's and I was gonna be clean because Erell said that you're a clean audience, a good crowd. I don't know about you, but most people are. Something happens and an evil twin comes out and I say such bad things. And my grandchildren saw me on internet. That's really embarrassing. They said, you are the most inappropriate grandmother. It's terrible. So I said, you're not supposed to be on the internet. Where is your mother? Anyway, that little hooker. Terrible. I did live in Georgia. I lived in Athens, Georgia. You could tell by the southern accent, right, sir? So I lived in Georgia. I lived in Athens. Athens is from Atlanta a distance of 30 years. Yes, it is. My husband was a professor there, and I came upon him in his office with this tall, blonde bimbo. He said she was a student. I said, you're so close. 2 more inches, you'd be a gynecologist. He said, well, I was just helping Sue Ann with her research. I said, oh, she's studying for a pap smear? A pap test? And I said, I don't like it here in Georgia. They all talk funny. They really do. They think I have an accent. Do I have an accent? I don't have an accent. Right? I think we have an Italian person here. She knows what that means. So anyway, Georgia, politics, everything's in the news lately. Politics, I know you're all talking about it. And politics is a word that comes from the Greek. It means poly, many, and ticks, blood-sucking parasites. Ain't that the truth? Whether they're orange or purple. And I think it's time for a woman to be in the White House, don't you? A Jewish woman. Me, Abby November. Abby for president. And do you know what the reason I would be a great president?
Why?
Because I pay you for sex? What? He's paid to say that. I'd be a great president because I believe the problem in the world is skinny people. Skinny people. Look at Putin. Putin is too skinny. And they need to eat like a meatball sub or a corned beef sandwich. And that's why he's so mean. He's got either a gerbil up his butt or he's not eating. He's not eating. Sir, Keep your hands with, all right. I turned 40 30 years ago, and do you remember, girls, remember, there's no girls here, so remember that pencil test? You put it under your breast. If the pencil falls out, you don't need a bra. Well, now, today, I can put a corned beef sandwich there, potato salad, and a whole cheesecake. Anybody hungry? It's still warm. Anyway, that is kind of a disgusting image, but ain't that the truth, right? I took my granddaughter bra shopping. Isn't that interesting? And she's 13, so we go into Macy's, and I said, well, why shouldn't Grandma get a bra too, right? Right? I should treat these old girls, right? They may be old, but they're... So, I'm going to take off my bra in the same fitting room as my 13-year-old granddaughter who has perky hoo-has, right? They're perky, and mine are not perky. You know, I don't know what the Italian word for perky is. Perky. And mine are going south for the winter. So I take off my bra, and she's watching me. I'm unfurling that she's watching me. Oh, Grandma, they're so long. So, being a scientist, I have a doctorate. Yes, that is a surprise, isn't it? But I wear glasses, so that means I'm intelligent. And I'm trying to educate her that, you know, as you get older, cartilage grows, flab grows, and it gets longer because of gravitational pull of the earth, right? And she says, Grandma, you're scaring me. She says, you're scaring me. Do you get undressed in front of Grandpa? And I said, once a year for Halloween, so I can scare him. She's so gullible. Yeah. She once told me, this little kid says, Grandma, don't wear your underpants to bed because your vagina won't breathe. I said, well, I keep oxygen by my bedside. And then she grabs me by the neck and says, Grandma, what's this? I said, that's a flotation device. Will I get one when I'm very old like you? And I said, only if you inhale. See, I don't lie like some people. I do more than inhale. Oh my goodness. This is really something here. So I am getting a little bit long in the tooth and long in the hoo-has. And it's kind of hard because sometimes you forget things. And I forget names, right? Sometimes you forget names, even you young people, because you may have inhaled. So I got this trick somebody taught me. If you meet a woman that you knew before, but you can't remember her name, you guys can use this too. You say, honey, or sweetie. But I said, well, what do you say? What's the trick to remember a guy's name? So you say, dude, how's it hanging? It works every time, except I met the minister, and I don't think he appreciated that greeting. No, he didn't. Yeah, so I am Jewish, and I'm not ashamed of it. Like Simon, I'm a little bit Jewish, maybe a lot, I don't know. I don't know where that's going. And I come from a small town in the Northeast called Brooklyn. Anybody here from Brooklyn?
Woo!
Ever been to New York?
Yes, once.
Once, and then you left. You got away from it as fast as you can because you don't like to shovel snow. And you don't like Hurricane Sandy. And you don't like pastrami sandwiches. Well, anyway, so Brooklyn is great, but pastrami sandwich. I went to a small college called NYU. Just a joke. It's just a joke, folks. And that's where I met my husband. in New York. I lived right around the corner from Brooklyn State Mental Institution. And in the 70s, thanks to President Ronald Reagan, I know some of you don't even give a shit about history, but Ronald Reagan had this wonderful idea that all the people in the mental institution should be let out. It was before your time. It was called deinstitutionalization. So they would be. They didn't realize, right? Marlene was there. She was there. In fact, she was one of them. And the way they let them out is first they gave them some freedom, sir. This is true. They let them wander around the neighborhood with an aide watching like 3 or 4 of them. And the way you knew that they were mental patients is they had no shoelaces and no belts. Now, why they thought a shoelace would be a dangerous weapon or a belt, I don't know, because I could think of far more dangerous things. But I guess they were afraid they'd hang themselves or somebody else. So they'd walk around the neighborhood, and that was, you know, if you saw a good-looking guy in Brooklyn, when I was looking at dating guys, the first thing I would notice, does he have his shoelaces, or did he have, well, I married my husband anyway. I mean, you can't help who you fall in love with, belt or no belt, no shoelaces. They had drugs for that, you know, but that's New York. You know, when I went off to Boston, where they really talk funny, Boston, Massachusetts, I was at a conference, and this guy came on to me, and you could see that anybody would come on to me. I am so gorgeous, you know, right? And I'm hot. And he said to me, "You want to go potty?" I said, "What are you, a pervert? Do you like watching women wee-wee?" I made $500. I don't give a damn what you say about John Kerry. Stiff as he is, he's stiff in all the right places. Let me tell you that. Anyway, so that's Boston. They really, really talk more funny than I do. But I was up when Albert DeSalvo was running loose.
Wow.
And for those of you that are too young to remember, Albert DeSalvo was the famous Boston Strangler. So people would say to me, my friend said, "Abby, how can you possibly go up to Boston to work? The Boston Stranglers going around, strangling women." I said, "For every one of the Boston Stranglers, there's 100 more in New York. Whatever they had, whatever crime they had a hell, right?" Yeah. Yes, thank you, Alfred. That's how I met Simon. He used to hang around the parks and say, "You want some candy? You want some candy? Little girl, you want some?" No, but I love him anyway, like a brother, you know.
I did it once to make a big deal.
I know, I made a big deal out of it. He didn't do it anymore. I was dressed as a Girl Scout. It was just one of those things. It was summertime in New York at Washington Square Park.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's smoking a joint. He thought I was a teenager, and he thought I was over 18. I don't know what it was, but, you know, let him live and be well. And then I was at the nursing home. Not where I lived, but I worked there. I love the nursing home. And the first day of work, you could see what a good Christian I am. There's a little old man in a wheelchair, not quite a wheelchair like Marlene's in, but a wheelchair. And he's got a gimme. He's Italian. It was Frank Macaluso
I know him.
from Sicily.
Right?
Yeah, oh, was he a cutie? He's in the wheelchair.
Very cute.
There's nothing as cute as old Italian men, because they love old women. They're so nice. They could tell you to go to hell, but they say it with a wonderful accent. Frankie. So he's in his wheelchair, and I'm really a short person, even though I have big feet. And he said to me like this, "Umbera," whatever your name is here. Signorita. He goes like this: kiss, a kiss, kiss, a kiss, a kiss. That's cute.
Macho,
Oh,
macho.
no,
Macho.
Macho, amore, pizzeria. And so Franco says, a kiss, a kiss. So I bent down, I'm giving him a kiss, give him a kiss. He grabs my ass. I said, oh my God, this is my first day of work and I get felt up by a cute old Sicilian. I run over to the nurse's station because I'm shy. And I said, that man just grabbed my ass. She says, thank God. He hasn't been feeling himself lately. We were worried about Frank because he hasn't been grabbing the nurses or the dietitian's ass. I said, oh, thank you very, very much, you know. I went over to him and I said, well, that's very nice. You asked for a kiss, a kiss, a kiss. I said, I should kick you in the nuts, the nuts, the nuts. He said, go ahead. They're in the same jar as my teeth. Cute little man. But every time I saw him, I made him keep his hands on this table like that. Cute little guy. So I did grow up in Brooklyn and in a Brooklyn Jewish grandmother's called Bubby, or Bubs. And there were 8 of us sharing one bathroom. We were kosher trash. And in Brooklyn. And I remember this one working bathroom, and my grandmother, the Bubs, would be pounding the door when we had to go to school, saying, I got a weak bladder, get out. Kids, get out. So for the last 60 years, I've been constipated. No shit. Yeah. Bathrooms are very important to me. My father was a hypochondriac, like you, sir. He would run to the doctor for anything, you know, a hangnail, an ingrown toenail, crooked shit, you know. Well, he once said to me, usually it's straight or it goes to the left. Today it went to the right. And it was before cell phone pictures. So he calls my sister in to look at it. She says, you're right, it's going to the end. Anyway, that's my crazy family. My younger sister is a psychiatrist. She deals with alcohol and drugs every day, and then she goes to work. My other sister was married to a wife beater, a schmuck who beat her, but she finally left him. Give her a round of applause. True story. I saw her the other day. She says, you know, I kind of miss him. So I slapped her. She said, thanks, I needed that. Well, I know that Erell is a doll. I know, and he pays me for sex too. Just like that's, you know, girls got to do what you got to do, right? Cleavage, you know what I'm talking about. Show them your cleavage. She is gorgeous. She's got cleavage, and she's gorgeous too. I wish I could pronounce your name, but I have a hearing problem, so it is hard for me. But she's beautiful, and you have your ovaries, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, because they say about politicians, oh, he has big cojones, he has big balls. And what are they going to say about Hillary? Oh, she's got a pair of oves on her. Boy, she's got oves that are like big, brass ones. So they don't say that, but I don't have any of those private parts anymore. That explains why I'm one of the boys, and literally one of the boys. I have beautiful grandchildren. Anybody ever have a grandmother? Well, I thought you might have been hatched. Sir, are you from Duck Dynasty?
Yeah.
He's dressed, you look like a stud. That's one big stud up there, yeah. Anyway, so my grandmother, I'm the kid's grandma, and besides her talking about not breathing, your vagina won't breathe, she is a genius, but the little boy is even smarter. I'm in a swimming pool in the condo with my grandson, he's 8, and he's watching me, and this is scary, and he'll probably be gay, because he saw me in a bathing suit. And now you're thinking about what I look like naked, aren't you? Talk about birth control. No, really. So this little kid is staring and staring and staring. He says, Grandma, what are all those blue lines on your legs? So I said, you know how I get lost driving? So I had the map of San Diego tattooed on my legs. Here's where we are, here's the zoo, and down here where it's smelly and warm is Tijuana. And that's my time. Thank you very much.